We've seen a ton of hits, dirty plays, and sometimes even straight up accidents turn into a suspension or a fine by the league. There have been some substantial ones throughout the years, so in this video, we're going to be breaking down the longest suspensions in NHL history. Eddie Shore suspended 16 games. On December 13th, 1933, Bruins Eddie Shore sucker punched Toronto Maple Leaf star at the time, Ace Bailey. The sucker punch resulted in Bailey's career coming to an end as he had fractured his skull on the play. Shore had hit Bailey down from behind, forcing him to go straight into the ice head first. It's been said that this was in retaliation to Bailey taking down Bruins player at the time, Red Horner. It's hard to believe that Eddie only got 16 games for crushing someone's skull and ending their career, but hey, it was the 30s, so I guess things were just different back then. Dale Hunter suspended 21 games. It was Game 6 of the first round of the 1993 playoffs. The Washington Capitals were facing off against the New York Islanders. On the play, Islanders' Pierre Turgeon stripped the puck away from Hunter in the Capitals' end, took the puck, and scored to put the Islanders up 5-3. Hunter, who was the Capitals' leading scorer with 7 goals in that series, was so angry with himself for giving up the puck, he took out his frustration on Turgeon as he was still celebrating the goal. The incident resulted in Turgeon sustaining a concussion and a separated shoulder. At the time, Gary Bettman was the new NHL commissioner, and he made a statement by handing out a 21-game suspension to Hunter. Dennis WIDEMAN suspended 20 games. The NHL suspended Calgary Flames defenseman Dennis WIDEMAN after he surprisingly threw a hit on linesman Donnie Henderson on January 27, 2016. Let's take a look at the hit.
He's going to try and make his way to the bench, and there's the collision with Don Henderson. He doesn't even see the linesman.
The hit resulted in a 20-game suspension for WIDEMAN, and just by looking at him taking out the ref, the suspension makes sense. However, if you rewind the play, you'll see that moments before this incident, WIDEMAN was on the receiving end of a hit that left him dazed and confused. So when we see WIDEMAN hitting the linesman, he really has no idea what he's doing as he's trying to make his way to the bench. I personally believe WIDEMAN, but I can't blame you if you don't. I mean, take a look at the hit. It seems so intentional, but it really makes zero sense as WIDEMAN was not a player who had a poor relationship with league officials. When asked to comment on the incident, WIDEMAN had this to say. Firstly, I want to apologize to Donnie Henderson. I feel awful about what happened. Hopefully he's recovering and he's going to be back on the ice soon. As far as the suspension goes, I'm really disappointed with the decision and the length of the suspension. I did not have any intent at any time to hit the official or hurt him or anything like that. I would never do something like that, and I'm pretty disappointed with the decision. Chris Simon suspended 25 games. On March 8th of 2007, Chris Simon made one of the most reckless plays in league history. Retaliating because he was hit from behind by Ryan Holweg, Chris Simon got up from the ice and decided to use his stick as a weapon, taking it to the face of Rangers forward Ryan Holweg. Holweg was cut on the chin and required stitches, but actually came back out to finish the game. Simon was given a match penalty, and on top of that, Nassau County prosecutors got involved, having to review the incident to determine whether or not it was a criminal act. Chris Simon had to sit out the remainder of the year, meaning the 14 games left in the regular season and any postseason games that the Islanders played. Chris issued a statement after the suspension saying he was disgusted in what he saw and that there is absolutely no place in hockey for what I did. Yeah. No shit, Chris. GORDIE DWYER suspended 23 games. What you're about to see is insane, and what makes it even crazier is that it didn't happen in the playoffs, it didn't happen during the regular season, but it happened during the preseason. During the third period of the Tampa Bay Lightning's preseason game against the Washington Capitals on September 29th, 2000, GORDIE DWYER got into a fight with not just one of the Capitals players, but two of them, Joe Murphy and Joe Ricci. Apparently GORDIE DWYER hates anyone named Joe. While that was happening, DWYER, who was only seeing red at the time, applied physical force to linesman Joe Brisebois. Nah, I'm just kidding. His name was David Brisebois, but that would have been crazy if he took out another Joe. Finally escorted to the penalty box, DWYER quickly escaped and skated back onto the ice where he started fighting with Joe Ricci once again while also pulling down another official down to the ice. For this incident, DWYER was given 2 minor penalties for charging and roughing, a 10-minute game misconduct, and 3 game misconduct penalties. Each of those game misconduct penalties comes with an automatic suspension. In total, the NHL cashed him out at a 23-game suspension. 10 of those for leaving the penalty box, and another 10 games for a Category 2 physical abuse of an official and Category 3 abuse of an official. Jesse BOULERICE, suspended 25 games. Flyers forward Jesse BOULERICE was suspended 25 games for cross-checking Vancouver Canucks Ryan Kesler back in October of 2007. BOULERICE faced an automatic review by the NHL after receiving a match penalty and a game misconduct. NHL disciplinarian Colin Campbell said after reviewing the play, he decided to do something that resulted in bad action, but not a terribly bad result. If it was a worse result, maybe there would be more than me looking into it today, and that wouldn't be good for any of us. When asked to comment on the play, Ryan Kesler said, "At least he had enough respect to give me a call and apologize. That's one good thing that came out of it." This was not the first time BOULERICE caused some controversy. Back in 1998, during his junior days, he was actually charged with assault to do great bodily harm less than murder after hitting Guelph Storm player Andrew Long. Dan Maloney, suspended and banned for 2 years. Dan Maloney's action on the ice on November 4th, 1975 would be the first time in NHL history that an on-ice event would go to trial. Dan Maloney was playing for the Red Wings and they were facing off against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maloney then attacked Leafs Brian Glennie using his stick and throwing various punches. As a side note here, Maloney was known in the league for having the hardest hitting punches at the time, so this had to be bad. Because of this attack on Glennie, Maloney was charged with assault to cause bodily harm by the Ontario Attorney General at the time. However, the charges were eventually dropped, but Maloney was prohibited from playing in the city of Toronto for 2 whole years. Thanks for watching our videos. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.